First of all, we are starting at the same place because we are in training and we are doing the same route. Why is that? Because we're trying to make it as easy as possible to learn how to play no HUD elite difficulty. Okay, this is Windy Island at the southern tip of Aurora on the map. This is the port. I also use two other places in Windy Island that we'll get to in the next part 3 and 4. Okay, and what I did, I just went cycled between the 3 and memorized them. Okay, now here in this lower area of this, there's usually a pair of guys and one heavy that patrols it. There's never more than that. Alright, so
well done.
If you want to make progress getting better at playing without HUD on elite difficulty, if you want to do that efficiently, then you could just copy what I'm doing right here and learn the same exact route. I take it every time because it has high success rates. It just seems to make sweeping this whole place easy. And what I'm trying to do is sweep it, at least, or most of it, without using any bandages. Because in this game, by the time you need one bandage, you've already been shot 7 or 8 times, and you know, it's highly unlikely you'd survive that. I was able to get this recording on the second try of the day. In the first recording, I got detected through a wall. That's the first time that's ever happened, and there's going to be a sniper here about half of the time. Although he might not be standing there, but if he is, he'll see you if you turn that corner. In this mission, in this episode, I had 80% accuracy, 16 of 20 all headshots, and did not get detected, not visually. And I always check and see if there's anyone in this room first. And there's usually 1 or 2 guys that'll be patrolling on this left side of the road. And then there's often 2 guys patrolling the road like there is right there. And there's always this guy standing right there. And there's going to be 2 or 3 guys on the left side of the road. Okay, so you've got 2 guys on the left side. This one guy standing there. Sometimes there's 1 or 2 guys patrolling the road, and you'll always have at least 3 guys on the right side of the road. The route isn't super precise. I just go from like small area to small area, you know, depending on where the enemy are. And so memorizing maps, you know, of course, once you memorize a map and gradually take HUD off and gradually increase difficulty, whenever you go to a new place, obviously everything you learn is going to carry over, and the only thing you need to learn is the enemy pattern. And that simply just makes it a lot easier to learn HUD, because to learn to play without HUD. You know, because if you didn't have a map memorized, then you would have to be learning the enemy routes, the enemy behavior, and on top of that, how to play with no HUD on elite difficulty. And that's what I was trying to do. I was just jumping head first into it, and I was not successful at all. I got discouraged. In part 3, I'm going to
Good job, boss.
the recycling place on Windy Island, and I'm going to play while gradually taking off HUD. Okay, if you want to practice double headshots without the risk, do this.
Solid work.
Have your teammate take out one guy, okay, get him synced, and then take out the first guy, and then as soon as you take him out, try to snap over to the second guy as quick as you can.
You're dangerous.
You know, and you can kind of get a feel, and you'll have about 1 to 2 seconds before that second guy runs off or shoots back at you.
Roger. Getting in position. On your go, Ghost Lead. I've got him. They're down. Good hits.
And in part 4, I'm just going to show you like the easiest training map, and I'm going to do it with night vision. And here's the second guy that was over here on this side of the road.
All day, baby.
Yeah, make sure you keep an eye on dead bodies if you're gonna stay in that little area for a while. Because, you know, whenever they find those dead bodies, they're gonna be drawn to that area. And, well, plus, if you stick around in that area and keep an eye on the dead body, if an enemy walks up on one and sees it, there's a good chance you'll have time to get him before he radios people. Always check for snipers. Don't forget that. That was something that took me a while to get used to. I kept getting spotted from above. It took me a while to figure out. I always just thought these guys were like extremely good camouflage, but they were above me.
What the? Hey.
Now,
Oh my God.
through here I'm listening as I'm going through here. Civilians' footsteps, they're very soft. They sound like tennis shoes on carpet. And enemy footsteps, checking for sniper. Enemy footsteps, they clink and clank. Their gear rattles, like metal on metal or plastic on plastic. Now these guys usually are not here. This is one of those, this is a portion of the enemy that obviously doesn't stick to the same routes. But there's always 1 or 2 snipers on that top rail, so be aware of that. And there, about half the time there's a guy down here.
Nice.
But there's always someone patrolling this road. Or even more than one person sometimes. Up to 3, I think.
I got nothing over here. This sector's clear. No ghosts.
I thought there were guys right below us. That's why I did that. One of the first things Frank Tastic taught me was to, 2 main things. Start out, if you don't know the map, start out by going around the perimeter and kind of circling around and gradually going inward until you learn the map and learn, you know, what else you'd rather do.
Set here, boss.
To hell with it.
And the other thing was peeking, the peek method around the corners.
Yeah, I
Okay,
know. It's
like
those
you're
background
aiming
shepherds who
while
raid
you're
all those
peeking around the
camps and
corner.
facilities. They can't be everywhere at once, though. Yeah, well, the point is we shouldn't be having this conversation. The wolves ought to be the ones dealing with them.
Now you're just showing off.
He's fueling rumors. Those ghosts don't stand a chance.
And as you gradually turn off the HUD, you know, just play around with it. You don't want it to be too easy for you, but you don't want it to be too difficult either, where you get discouraged.
Stay sharp. There's got to be useful intel here.
I think there are several things. If you play with absolutely full HUD, there are several things that you can turn off that really won't be that big of a deal. It's mainly the enemy markers and the mini-map is what was a big deal for me. And just getting used to using the drone less.
Outstanding.
Nothing to report here.
Yeah, this guy's always in here, and there's almost always a guy upstairs, and he usually hears that shot, that first shot on this guy. Okay, if you want to aim right, put the gun in your left shoulder. If you want to aim left, put the gun in your right shoulder. And if you miss a headshot, don't freak out and overcorrect. You have 1 to 2 seconds to get him. You have 1 to 2 seconds before he moves. His head will move a little bit, so if you miss, your crosshairs are still going to be really close to his head. You'll miss, he'll flinch, his head will move, and it'll snap back, you know, once it stops flinching. It'll snap back to where it was almost exactly before, and you just barely have to move your joystick, your analog stick, your crosshairs, and get him right back on his head. And pop him. And an example of that is coming right up. I do it all the time, because I miss a lot. It's funny when I'm just being lazy and I'm trying to do it to get a double headshot. I'm being lazy, so I missed the first guy, not the second guy, but the first guy, because he's walking. I'll miss him like 3 or 4 times in a row and get spotted.
They need to be neutralized, man. I'm killing on sight the moment I see one.
trying to think of... Oh no, never mind. I didn't ever miss a second guy in this video. Or at least not here.
Delete that shit.
That was on a different one.
It's all quiet in my sector. All clear. Not that I want to run into one of those ghosts. Shit!
Dangerous, Nomad.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else is important. I know there's plenty of stuff. Yeah, but once I started doing this and memorizing a few maps and using them as training, I also use the cable place in Silent Mountain that's in the snow. That is a smaller place, but it's enemy dense. That's kind of, I don't know. That's a good place to learn how to watch people, because it's a smaller place. There's a lot of enemies, and most of them are walking around and moving around. Well, learning how to play like this really gives the game new life and certainly a new level of intensity.
All good.
I'm actually pretty excited about starting the missions. What is the best SMG? I need mobility and range. And damage, of course.